Oh. Oh. Oh my goodness. I could just lay here forever. Whew. Welcome back everybody. In today's video we are going to be continuing the backseat rebuild in the boat, and in today's video we're going to be building the engine cover sun deck. So don't go anywhere, let's go ahead and get right into it. Well, it took 3 long days, but we finally got this garage behind me all picked up. There is nothing out on the floor anymore. Let me tell you, we organized all the shelves and everything else too. I mean, a full cleanup. But it is pretty awesome because now I'm not gonna be looking for my tools all the time. I know where everything's at. Got my power tools, drill, sanders, jigsaw right there. All of my sockets collected back up. So that is going to help me a lot with being able to build this boat even faster. But I just wanted to share that quick update with you guys. Now back to the boat. This is looking pretty cool. This fits into place perfect. I gotta tell you though, I didn't show it on camera, but I had to recut these corners about 15 times. You know, I was shying on the side of caution because I didn't want to cut them in too short, because then we wouldn't be able to fix that. So I was sort of cutting them piece by piece till we got it where it got all the way in there. I'm pretty happy with how level it is. It's just right, I think. Oh my goodness. So now that we've got the piece in place here and we've got it cut to where it fits the size just right how we want it, the next step is figuring out how we're going to fasten it down. Now, as you would imagine, I'm planning on making it so it hinges like that, so you'll be able to fold it up to get inside. So I went to Home Depot and got some hinges. And these are pretty heavy duty bad boys. They are 3.5 inch heavy duty T-hinge. So we have 2 hinges. I plan on spacing them out about a foot from each end, so about like that. Instead of having it like that, I'm actually gonna do it like this. So it'll be like that in this position, and then it will fold up. It won't be on top of it, it'll be underneath, but it'll be just like this. Then whenever we're done with this and we have the cushion on top, we're gonna have the cushion on top of the wood here, as you'd expect. Then there'll also be sort of like a little piece of it that comes off and covers this part too, but it'll be able to fold whenever the cover's hinging. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get these bad boys hooked up and then show you guys some more progress. now for the grand test to see how the top sits on those hinges.
Nice.
I think I want to do I was just thinking about, this is still a fairly thin plywood. And when we have the bolts going through the hinge onto the plywood, it's only going to go into the plywood about an inch. So odds are that could be weak enough to where it could actually break the plywood. So I think what I'm going to do is reinforce it with a thin metal strip that'll distribute that pressure over a wider area. I managed to find this old creation that's out of aluminum that was from a high school robotics project. But this flat piece right here, this plate of aluminum, I'm going to go ahead and take that off of here and then cut it in half, and then I'll be able to use each piece for holding that plywood onto the hinges. Alright, so I ended up being able to find 2 of these aluminum plates, so that way I'm not going to have to cut them in half. And as fate would have it, when you put them into position here, you can see 2 of the holes line up perfectly. So I'm not going to have to drill any additional holes in these. I'll just use the ones that came with it out of the factory. But with some wide washers on there, I think that's going to hold it more than well enough. Alright guys, the cover is attached to the hinges and can fold up now. Look at that. And it doesn't bind up at all at the ends or the sides at all, which is wonderful. And it's got just the right gap on the back. Now some of y'all might be wondering, if the bolt's going through on this side and the nut's on the bottom and it's laying down like this, how could I hold the nut underneath like this to fasten it on? And that's a good question. It was quite a trick. I had to have a piece of wood hold the board up like this, and I could just barely reach my arm in far enough on each side and get them done. So it's actually pretty sturdy, but if you put pressure in the middle, this is sort of a nerd fact, but because the grain, there's 3 sheets of ply in here, and 2 of them are going this way, and 2 of them are going this way. Because the grain is going this way on 2 of them, it wants to bend this way, meaning it wants to sort of fold in the middle like a taco shell. So we need to add supports going this way. Now, there was somebody who actually on the last video wanted to send me pictures of their boat that has the bench seat like this to give me some ideas of how they make it from the factory. And one thing I noticed is that they would put basically walls on each side of the engine, and that also serves to help support this cover piece. So I think that's what I'm going to do. That will give us support this way, across here, and on that side by that hinge. And that way that'll keep our cover from wanting to fold in like a taco. So now the next thing for me to do, go ahead and get some measurements and throw some wood together to make those walls. So the first thing I'm going to do, because there's no way I can take measurements under this while this is down, is I'm going to go ahead and mark on the edge with the pencil what height the board is at, roughly. Now that I've got that height marked on the side, I can go ahead and get my handy dandy stick here, prop this up. There we go. And now we can just get some measurements for this bad boy. Okay, pretend we're looking sideways at the boat. That hinges down like that. Here's the seat up here, right about 23 inches in the depth. gonna be about 26.25. On one side it looked like 27, on the other side it looked like 27.25. Okay, I think I know what I need to do now. Alright, well I got all the pieces for the framing supports cut out right here. One thing I did want to mention is I did end up cutting some 2x2s to use in addition to the 1x2s. What I'm going to use these for is for the middle of these framings. There's going to be 3 framing members, one in the middle and then one on each end coming up. This one in the middle, being a 2x2, is just going to help give it just a bit more stiffness to really make sure it's supported well. If you got some big heavy guys that are going to be sitting on the middle of this sun deck, this is what's going to hold it up really well. Real quick, before I assemble these, want to check them before to make sure it's the right height before you go ahead and screw them together and everything, because you don't want to put them together and then put it in here and turns out you need to make it half an inch shorter or taller. So what I did is I took the top and bottom piece and I set them at the bottom, so that basically gives you that height. And then I took the vertical piece and put it into position and made sure that looks pretty good, but then went ahead and put the door down to see how close that gets right there. And this one rests just on it without pushing the board up too much, so that is as perfect as I am wanting to get it. I went ahead and I got those supports built and you can see them in place there. Let me tell you, getting that height just right, all that talk to get it cut to the right height the first time, I still ended up having to recut it about 5 more times. But that's okay, because we got it done and it's already dark now. Took a little longer than I hoped, but that's just the way things go. But that's not gonna bring us down now that we got these in here. Let me go ahead and show y'all how it does. As you can see, it closes just right. I mean, like, perfect. Now I'm sure some of y'all are wondering how strong this bad boy is. So let me go ahead and demonstrate. As long as you're standing where the supports are, it's very strong. But if you go more towards the middle here, I don't know if you can tell from there, but it starts to bow in just a little bit. Makes me a little bit nervous, as well as on this outside edge here. Some of it's supported here at the back and at the front, of course, but in the middle it bows in a little bit, making me a bit nervous. So with that said, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add one more support that goes over here on the engine, and this one I'm gonna make it actually so that it doesn't necessarily bolt in, but sort of slides into place. I'll show you how I'm gonna do that in a second. Then the other thing is, on these edges here, I'm gonna bolt on some plywood that's going to help support the edge of our cover too, on this side and that side. So we're going to go ahead and get those bad boys done. Alright, this might look like a crazy contraption, and that's because it is. Alright, I found some bolts that are long enough for this and I went ahead and put them in, and now I'm going to try to do a little trick turning this over and then pressing it down on the top of the seat back and see if I can get the marks lined up to drill the holes on it. So I took the seat back out of the boat and it's down over here, and as you can see, I got my piece screwed on here now, or bolted on, I should say. So here's the piece. It's gonna slide in there, and look at that, I got the height perfect. Oh my goodness. I love it when a plan comes together. I know not everybody can do this, but if you can, it might help. Let's see. This bad boy does. Oh my goodness. I think that's gonna work. I think the whole trailer's bouncing. Oh, I hear some creaking. Wow, this is... I don't think anybody's going to break this, but especially once there's cushions up here that help distribute the load, plus the fiberglassing and gel coating and all that helps too. And if that piece is in your way for getting to the engine, you just pull it right out. That's what I like most about that. Alright, so it is the next day now, so it's time to pick up where we left off, and I've gone ahead and I've made up some plywood pieces, and these are only 3/8 inch. They really don't have to be that thick, and these are going to be our side supports that are going to go up under here, attached to the wall here. So let's go ahead and get the holes drilled for these and then get them bolted on. Alright, well, we got those side pieces mounted on there, as you can see. Got it done on both sides, and let me tell you, it took a lot longer than expected, but that's because the devil is in the darn details. Having to put the thing up and then put the cover up, put it down, and making sure that it gets exactly right, as you can see it is. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact, and that's probably the problem, is I'm trying to make it too exact. But another thing you'll notice is that the back wall and the corners, I went ahead and put 2 more support pieces there as well, just to help beef up those corners a little bit, especially this one where the plywood was sort of flaking out on me. I'm probably going to go back through and glue that back together to make the plywood a little stronger. You can see it's on this side as well. It's because it was the end of the sheet. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get these side supports back into position and then drill a hole and bolt them to the back there. That way they hold still. Now that we've got these supports bolted to the back wall there, now we can go ahead and get the back of the seat back in here and figure out where we're gonna put the holes. Looks like it's fitting in just right still. Oh yeah, look at that. I wanted it just back a little bit from here. I didn't want it sticking out to where if you're leaning back there, it's poking you in the back or nothing. But that looks pretty good. Sticking out just the right amount. So now let's see. Oh wow, it's lined up with the back of the bottom of the seat. It's lined up pretty good too right now. That's always a good sign. So how am I going to mark this? So I think what I'll do is I'll just mark with the pencil a line here that tells me where the edge is, and we know we need to go in about, I don't know, 1/2 inch from that. And then that's right where the seat should go, I think. And I'm also going to go ahead and drill some holes to bolt the back of the seat down to the bottom of the seat. Also noticing there's just a hint of play in this piece unless you're pushing the back of the seat back. So I think what I might do to help hold this steady on this end is get it straight right here. And then just mark where I want it. And I'll attach 2 blocks right there just to help keep it steady. Now that we've got everything bolted in, I think we are ready now to take everything out and fiberglass it and gel coat. But that is where we're going to end today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to smash that like button. And if you want to see what happens next, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. But I want to thank you guys for all the love and support. And stay tuned for the next one, because it's going to be good. And that's it. I will see you next time.